So just a quick review. In the first the first lesson, we did muscles. So we know how muscles work, but in order for them to work, they need energy. Just like any physics system, right? If you want to do work, if you want to move things around, you have to spend energy in order for that to happen. And the muscles are no exception. And what the muscles actually have is the ultimate hybrid. They don't just have one engine, they have three engines. And they all work, they all have pluses and minuses that go with each of them. And they all benefit the muscle in a certain way, and they all have their negatives as well. So understanding these can really help explain a lot of how swimmers feel during training and during races. So I think this is one of the most important concepts for coaches to understand, for swimmers to understand, and I think it has some of the most relatable concepts to what we actually experience in the pool. So it's one of my favorite topics. So here's kind of the outline for today. I'd split it up into maybe three different sections. So the first section is we're going to talk about ATP, which is kind of biology's way of moving energy around and getting things done. And this molecule is like universal. It is not just for humans, but almost all organisms out there. Then we'll spend some time on each of the three engines, phosphagen system, glycolysis, and then the aerobic system. And then lastly, we'll try to fit all of that into bringing it back to the pool deck. So let's just start with the basics of what is ATP. So you probably, if you've ever taken a biology class, you've definitely heard of ATP before, and basically it translates to pure energy, right? So anytime the body wants to create something, move something, do a chemical reaction, change an enzyme, it uses ATP. So, and this is universal. So in muscles, essentially what ATP is it's not that important, but adenosine triphosphate is what it stands for. And so you have these phosphates here, and the little bonds is where the actual energy is kind of stored, right? And the electrons there. So when you do work, you move a muscle, you work an enzyme, you spend that bond, and that phosphate splits off, and you have ADP, right, which is basically a spent energy. And what we're going to talk about today, the whole lesson today, is how do we get ADP back into ATP, right? How do we regenerate what we spent? How do we get it back to being full of energy so that we can spend it again? So that's why I wanted to start here. So if you looked at the entire process of ATP going around, all the different reactions in a cell, and you map them all out, it would look something like this, right? Super complicated, a whole lot going on. We definitely don't need to go into the nitty-gritty of any of these reactions, so we're going to simplify this whole chart into that. And it still maybe is a little intimidating at first, but we're going to break it down piece by piece, and I think by the end it'll make a lot of sense. But just real quick, just to that 1,000-foot view, what we're really talking about are these three engines. Where'd my mouse go?